We agree that there's a connection between the corporations and Congress today, and that laws seem to be passed benefiting them at the price of your average Joe out there. What makes you think that you can ever get away from that? Anytime you push legislation, it's the big powerful corporations that have all the money to give the congressmen. They're always going to get on the better end of the stick. A lot of them clamor for regulation. Corporations love regulation because it keeps the little guy out from challenging them. If you build a better mousetrap today, and think of this in terms of healthcare especially, the little guy can't make it. He can't make it because he can't pay for all the regulations that he'd have to adhere to just to get off first base.
And again, this is where we have to come up with the practical solution to the problem. You're absolutely right. And again, that's why I said I joined the Green Party, because we don't take those corporate donations. And I find it interesting. Some people say, well, they have the right to contribute to whoever they want, and going, wait a minute, I remember reading the Constitution, and I don't remember anywhere it says we the corporations by the corporations.
They're illegal.
For the
They're a legal fiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are not people. And Sotomayor, that's the one thing I like about her. She's made hints that she believes that corporations do not have the same.
I think
rights.
we could solve a lot of the problems we have currently by, I know you're not going to like this idea, passing one regulation that no corporation could donate dime one to any candidate anywhere at any time. And I think you would that would be a more practical solution.
But see, that's never. But that's my point. Is that you're I don't know if that's chicken and the egg is the right thing point I want to make, but it's never going to happen because they got too much power. As long as you allow Congress to pass those types of laws, the corporation is going to make sure those kind of laws never get passed. I say go beyond that and recognize the fact that the Constitution limits Congress to just a few things really that they can do.
But then again,
and allow and giving favors to anybody is unconstitutional. I say you really want to free the system up as far as elections concerned. Get rid of all the election laws as far as restricting contributions. That to me, that's a violation of free speech.
But again, now you just had an argument against anything that the libertarians are going to be proposing, because what did you just say? You'll never get it passed because they have so much power. How are your side, by deregulating anything, how are you ever going to get the deregulations passed because they have all the power to keep those regulations?
That is an excellent.
I think this is where, and one of the reasons I got into the Green Party, not only because I also agree with a lot of the philosophies in regard to the corporate takeovers and so forth, but the practical side that, the revolution you're talking about, what would happen in Springfield, in Washington, if a majority of the people in this state, since the Green Party is the only current established challenge to the Republicans and Democrats, if you had a majority of the people finally say, I'm fed up with what's going on, I'm going to vote for this Green Party person just because
it's possible. It's possible. I hope it happens. I mean, I'd rather see it. I mean, although
we can work
your guys'
later.
views on the environment scare the living daylights out of me. But I would nonetheless probably rather see a Green than any Democrat or most Republicans.
Let's move on to the environment.
I'm sure you've heard about ClimateGate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I've checked this out. This is no small thing. This is not, these scientists, well, they're human beings. We've gone far afield, Dan, from the rigorous discipline of an Albert Einstein, who said if I'm off by 1 centimeter when my theory of relativity is tested by solar eclipses, then you got to throw out my whole theory. And we come to the point where we had to, from finding out through these email exchanges that scientists opposed to this idea of man-made global warming have been snuffed out of the science community. They've been shunned. They've been not allowed to peer review, and apparently, a lot of the data. Well, the data's gone. The raw data since 1960 is gone, and there's some evidence that it was destroyed. And one of the most egregious things was this whole notion of this hockey stick curve, of this big kick up of global warming that lasts
Al Gore's famous
30
chart.
years. Yes, it turns out to be bogus. It's done with fraudulent methodology, because originally the methodology was with tree rings, and then when they plotted out the graph, they found out that the last 30 years they didn't get the results they wanted to, so they changed the methodology in the middle of the stream and decided to use real temperature, which is fine if you want to do it all the way through, or if you set it ahead of time, even if you're going to do it that way. But to change the rules in the middle of the game is so fraudulent. It seems to me most of the research is based on this basic research that these guys did, supposedly. I think we need to start all over again on research thing to see if there really is man-made global. And I forgot to mention the fact that they decided to drop off the warm medieval period. That was a lot warmer than what we have today, and they didn't have industrialization then.
Well, the problem that I see, and unfortunately it's come to this, you can't get a true answer. Everybody seems to have an agenda. You don't have the true science anymore. You don't have somebody who says, okay, here are the actual facts. The facts have to be bent to their particular agenda. Same thing as, whether you're talking about the mainstream media, whether you're talking about anything on the internet, you can take anything you want and turn it to what you want to believe. And unfortunately, like I said, Al Gore, I mean, he's doing such a great job of selling his DVDs for what, $20 a pop or whatever it is. His whole the carbon trade-off, where his company gets 30%, whatever it is. Everybody has this agenda, and you can't believe. Unfortunately, you can't believe anyone anymore, and this is the problem we face. I'm certainly more concerned with the different chemicals and the different combinations of things that we're putting into the environment versus carbon dioxide.
Okay, so you're not that concerned about it. And to me, and as kids, we learned, the big equation of life, connecting photosynthesis with respiration. CO2 is obviously a vital part of life. It can't possibly be called a pollutant.
Well, you take a look at a lot of the things that are happening around the world. This invasion of the man o' wars, the jellyfish. They hadn't seen them in some areas forever, and they're just populating like all crazy because something's wrong with the biosystem. Now the question is it what man is doing, or is it
is it sunspots?
Sunspots? Is it underground or underwater volcanic activity? All of these different things, all these different variables. I don't know that there is a supercomputer big enough that could take all of these factors into account and come up with the true cause. And yes, man has done a pretty good job of screwing up some environments.
Although we've come a long ways in the last 30 years, and that's my opinion. One reason that this whole global warming thing was developed was because in order to keep on getting funded, you have to come with a new crises all the time.
Oh,
and we've gotten rid of 90% of the pollution of the water and air in this country.
And of course, part of that was Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and so forth, which were again, regulations. Okay, if anybody's interested, they could get to our my website at rpil.org. If they're interested in the Illinois Green Party, it's ilgp.org.